I was not expecting that.
What is up, everybody? We got a special intro video because we have a special guest returning to the Racing Dudes channel here. We have got the one, the only, Aaron. Oh, no. I'm kidding. We got Saratoga Slim with us here today. I am pumped. Slim, how you doing, man?
Very excited. It's much easier to do the pace thesis on a video than write 3,000 words and have Magic edit it all. So this is the video. No more writing. I retired from writing. Videos I will never retire from.
I love it, man. I love it. Magic, I know, is ecstatic that we're doing this over video as well. So you made his day when I told him that we were going to do this over video. Aaron, how are you doing, man? You excited to hear some pace thesis action?
I'm excited. I told you I'm going to be like the student kind of in the background, just listening, and also the chaperone, because I think we do need a chaperone on this show. No, I'm really excited. You know, we had John White for 2 hours. That's going to come up a little bit later on. Jared will have that up. But now we get like the young John White, the Saratoga Slim. So I'm freaking pumped.
He's not that long-winded.
John is a legend. I'm just trying to. I don't know if John came on the show with his 2018 Derby Cup fill with a red ruby White Claw, though. I don't think so. Ruby grapefruit. I don't think
so. John's a White Claw kind of guy. I'm just leaning in that direction. I'm just leaning that way. So we're going to talk about Slim's pace thesis today. I did a pace preview for Racing Dudes YouTube page earlier last week without the gate draws. I'm excited to kind of compare notes here. So we're going to do that live as we go through Slim's as we go through Slim's pace thesis here, the slide version of it at least. Before we jump into it, real quick, Slim, how did this kind of start out? And give us a little background on the pace thesis, how long you've been doing this, and how it kind of got to where it is today.
Back in the first guide we wrote was 2016. In 2015, I wrote a Breeders' Cup guide with the dudes and a defunct website. I forgot the name of the website that I started writing for in 2015, and we wrote a Breeders' Cup guide. So then when the Derby came around, I was like all in. And I wrote 25 pages of just craziness and all these different stats. And I started coming up with all these statistics. And by 2016, I said, I'm going to write this crazy pace thesis, which basically people always talk about, and this is very important for this year, is how much speed is in the Derby field. You always hear, there's a lot of speed in this field. So I wanted to try to calculate what that was. And then it became a whole thing. And here we are. This is the 7th year of it, so it's a lot of years doing it. But we're here tonight doing a video. Instead of you all having to read 3,000 words, you could just sit back for hopefully about a half an hour. And I'm sure there'll be a lot of BSing going on, so we'll probably go a little bit over. But I'm trying to get this 12 slides that I have here in a good half hour for all y'all to digest. So I'm just going to jump into it if you guys are ready.
Yeah, let's do it, man. I love the engineer aspect of this. As someone who's worked with engineers for over a decade, I love how you've every year you've got more data. You're able to dive into it deeper. And I love how you break it out. So let's, without further ado, let's get this thing rolling, Slim.
All right. I'm trying to get those slides up and running. Here we go. So let's start it off. The Kentucky Derby field, right? We got 20 horses. We got 2 also eligibles. Right here, these are in order of what we call Brisnet running style. I give you the definitions along the side here. If you don't know what the Brisnet running styles are, Brisnet, as you might know, they do speed figures, they do past performances. It's pretty much the main Twin Spires, free PPs, past performances that you get. And in those, they have a very special thing called running styles. And they categorize each horse by their running style based on their past performances. So they will categorize them into 5 different headers, or whatever you want to call it, categories. So we have the early ones. Those are horses that want the lead. Early horses are E types. EP types are early pressers. Those are horses that want to be on or near the lead. So they're going to be up in that first pack of horses. Then we also have NA types, no data available. Those are the 2 international horses that we have here. Since Brisnet really does not have those speed figures for international races, then we have the P horses, the pressers. In the Derby, those are going to be the mid-pack horses. And then we have the S types, which are sustained, or they're just going to make one sustained run. Those are the closers that are going to be at the back of the pack. They are ranked in what's called Kieran speed points. I think the guy's name's Kieran. And he the pasty show I don't know what's going on here, but the
don't distract him, Aaron.
Going from 0 to 8 with having the most speed points 8. So 0 is a horse that has no speed. Like in this one, Rich Strike is an S0, no speed coming out the gate. And 8 is horses that break like a dart out of the gate. We got Classic Causeway, who's an 8. Messier, he's going to break good out of the gate. Always does. Pioneer Medina, an 8. So those are horses that are going to break well, going to want to be on the lead and have that early speed. So ranking them out here is a good way to look at the field. Course, Classic Causeway, we're going to talk a lot about him tonight. He doesn't have a chance to win the race, but he's going to have a big impact on what's going to happen when we take a look at it. So really, that's the rankings of them in order. We'll jump to the next slide. So why does this even matter, right? Well, 22 derbies this millennium, starting in 2022 to 2021, 10 times have been led by an E8 horse. E8 horse is an early horse, wants to lead, 8 Kieran speed points, gets out of the gate, wants to go there. Right now, we have one horse that fits that criteria, Classic Causeway, breaking from the 17. So we expect him, even though Julian Leperoux gets a lot of crap for not being a jockey that wants to go to the lead, this horse has one way to go. They didn't even want to put him in the race. And then they're like, hey, look at this race. There's really no E horses in here. Maybe the owners know about Brisnet speed. And they look at the field and say, look at this, no E horses. We could get the lead. Let's go for it. Put him on the lead. Let's see how far he can go. Didn't really work out in the Florida Derby, as we all know. He retreated through the field as quickly as possible. And we expect him to do the same thing here, going longer. So, but when you look at this chart here, right, you got the E horse, you got that one green horse at the 17, and then you got a bunch of yellow. So if half of the time, and then if you take a look at the other ones, right, E7, what else we got here? E7,
we got the E8 with
E7,
Messier.
E6, 3, 13, 16. So 16 and then another 17, 17 of the last 22 derbies, that's a pretty good percentage, have led early by an E-type, and we only have one E-type here, right? So looking at this side chart, I think there's one thing that jumps out to me. So you have that speed coming out of the 17 post. So you got to expect him to just be absolutely firing out there. From the inside, Summers tomorrow, obviously the wild card here. You mentioned that in your last slide. Could be another pace presence. Connections have said he's going to send. Little concerns about how well he breaks and actually how fast he is. We've rarely seen international horses break well and make the front in the Derby. Let's say Classic Causeway has some type of trouble. The E's on the inside, you got to look at Epicenter, Messier, Charge It, are probably going to be where you're going to see most of the pace from if there is any issue with Classic Causeway. Is that correct? Absolutely agree. You said it much better than I have. I'm rusty. I haven't been on a live stream in a while, so Mike is polished. I love it. The guy is really good. So exactly. I mean, I think, the key thing, and I'll go to the next slide where we actually show how they're going to dump out of the gate here. So perfect segue into this slide, how they're going to dump out of the gate. So Classic Causeway, my pace projector, I looked at the time form one and looked at this one a little bit different. They got Summers tomorrow on the lead. Mike really pushed it. Like, I have a disclaimer here. If Summer tomorrow breaks cleanly and duels Classic Causeway, that's the only way we get a pace meltdown. I think you guys said it this afternoon. We don't really see that happening because these international horses can't break out of the gate. Mendelssohn is a prime example. He came over here, got crushed. Obviously, he was in that gap when they had the 2 gates or auxiliary gate. It was like bumper cars there. We were there that year. We were standing next to Aidan O'Brien that day. It was crazy. And, but international horses, they just aren't trained that way. That's the thing. Like, I see Pletcher at 2 years old. These horses, they come up to Saratoga. They get gate training and they get gate training and they just pound them out of the gate. And then when they debut at Saratoga, well, Pletcher had some issues, but they come out of that gate and they're ready to fire, going 5 furlongs, 6 furlongs. And that's how we're trained here. Internationally, they come out of the gate and they just kind of fall out of there and they go on the turf and so that's not how these horses really are. I know Summers tomorrow, it's been in sprints, but we can't really think that that's going to happen. It is a possibility that they want to go for the lead. We'll check it out. But as you said, the 2 horses that we really think are going to be up there, Epicenter and Messier, both can break out of the gate. We've seen it many times in the Louisiana Derby and Santa Anita Derby. going back to Risen Star, all their races. These horses trained by horsemen that pound in speed, Asmussen and Baffer. These horses know how to get out of the gate. They're trained when they come to them to get out of the gate. So
really quickly, I want to answer a couple questions in chat, Slim. So first off, is this first quarter or lead at the half? So this is the first quarter, I think, that Slim's got up here now. We're going to get to the half and the quarter time. Slim's going to actually predict those a little bit later, and we're going to compare it to past derbies as well. So hang around. We're going to kind of get to the point where we actually predict the specific pieces of the pace here. And then, when it comes to a meltdown, there's one good example since 2013. It's actually 2013. So we'll talk about what it took to get that meltdown and how we got there. Generally, it would be 23-45 range when you start to really worry about a meltdown. And a meltdown would be pretty much everyone in yellow has no chance because everyone's too close to the pace. They're all backing up, and it's going to be horses coming from way back.
Yeah, they get sucked into that speed duel. And that really happened in 2013 because Palace Malice was a dead send. Pletcher added blinkers to him, and he just went wild, and that was a problem. Same thing could happen here with Classic Causeway, but we've seen in what we're going to compare here is the 2016, 2017, and 2018 derbies to this field because the characteristics of those fields is very similar to this one. So very good questions. I love it. So let's go through this. So after those three, I really think, Epicenter, Messier, Classic Causeway are going to make up that first group. Right behind them, Pioneer, Medina. Taba is going to get out of the gate. I saw it with my own eyes. Mike Smith on Justify. This is the next Justify, right? Third star. Everyone's comparing him to him. Mike Smith on him. Mike Smith, I just love this replay if we had it. I know Aaron loves it too. He just gives him these 2 shakes, 3 shakes, and he gets Justify out of that gate, and he's right next to Promises Fulfilled to start that race. And I feel like Taba is going to get out of that gate and be in good shape in the clear, outside of Pioneer, Medina, maybe even outside of Messier. Zozo's breaking from the 19. He has to get position. And, it's not the craziest thing. I know Aaron's kind of off of him. He's been pumping him up for 2 weeks. I've been listening to all you guys. Don't get too down on him being a 19. He could get position. Country House left from 20, and he got position. He was sitting 6th, 7th early. Here I got him sitting, 6th or 7th early, and horse won the race by DQ, but, he was closing at the end to get second. So Zozos, he could get that position like Country House, and, he's young and experienced, but we'll see what happens. Going through it, Crown Pride, I don't understand one thing about the time form. They got Crown Pride in like 2nd or 3rd in the pace trajectory. Once again, international horse. I don't see him really getting there, but he'll be up in that, second group here. Charge It. Also someone who could show a good amount of speed coming out of the gate. White Barrio next, Simplification, Cyberknife. And I just want to point on one thing at the end here. Zandon. Zandon is not going to be in 20th place. He's not going to be in 18th, 19th. Flavian Pratt. We'll go back to Country House. I talk about Country House a lot. When Country House won that race, right, he got him out of there. Country House was always a closer before that. And I don't think Flavian Pratt won the Kentucky Derby once before, and he's not going to try the same thing again. You got to think about how these jockeys think about these races. And if he's not getting them in the 12th, 13th, in that top 10 or 12 horses, he's going to get them positioned. And it's just a matter if Zandon is going to be good enough from that position and he could keep it. And with the Bluegrass, he was like 7 lengths from the lead the whole time, even though he was in last place. If he's 7 lengths from the lead in this race, he could be dangerous. And I'll leave it up to you guys to ask some questions about this.
Yeah, I mean, so first off, just on the Zandon point, just a reminder for everybody, he went 46-4 his sprint race, the first race of his career. So it's not like he is completely devoid of speed. He does have some tactical speed in that sense. So if he needs to be used a little bit early, we'll see how that affects his kick late. But I think that's a good point you made, Slim. Second question, and the main question I have here is I just see a ton of yellow, right? I mean, if you include Summers Tomorrow and Crown Pride as possible yellow horses, you're looking at 11 horses that are that EP setup, which is traditionally what you want to be to win the Derby. Is that more than normal? It seems like 11 is a lot of EP horses.
You are just giving me the greatest segues, like into the next slide, because I got an answer for that on this slide right here. Check it out. So this is what spurred the whole pace thesis, was this definition of what I came up with, the Brisnet Derby field speed. And what it is an average of those yellow horses. So when you have the yellow horses, and that's usually what we get, somewhere between 8 to 11 yellow horses, that is normal to see that many. And for instance, and all this is an average of all the E horses and the EP horses and what their Kieran speed points are. So from 0 to 8. And for the last, so let me talk through this. There's a lot of numbers on this slide, so I don't want to get everyone confused here. This is the master's course, so please bear with me as I go through this with you. So the biggest, the highest Brisnet field speed was Always Dreaming's year, 2017. And in that year, we had a 46.5 and 111.12 3/4 mile fractions for that race. Okay. So that ranked as the 5th fastest of the 9 years of the Derby points era. So I only broke this down to the Derby points era. I went back to 2000 and it's just gotten too crazy. So really, this is the Derby points era. Now we have 9 years to look at in this 10th year. So this year is actually the 2nd highest, 6.3. So we do have a lot of speed in the race. And does that mean we're going to have a pace meltdown? That is the key thing that people are asking. And I really don't see it unless Summer Tomorrow and Classic Causeways go head-to-head and duel. But what this does mean is that the characteristics of this race are very similar to 2016, 2017, and 2018, all fast paces. And I know that Mike's been talking about the 45.7 Nyquist Justify year. We talked about the pace meltdown, the Orb year, 45.33, 109, not even, this was just an abnormality. We're not going to even deal with that because that was so weird. And then the Authentic year, also just weird. September Derby, horses are more mature, and I wrote an article that got me in a lot of trouble about this, that these fractions made no sense. If you take a look at it, 46 to 110 never had been done before in the history of or back to 1974. I went through it. It was just the wackiest times that anyone's ever seen. And that year was just, wire to wire. So when you got a gate to wire, Authentic, Maximum Security, Medina Spirit here, right? We're not going to talk about the last 3 years. They're wacky, screwed up. We all know that the last 3 derbies were insane for many reasons. So I'm hoping we get back to some normality, and 2016 to 2018 is where we end up this year comparing this derby to. So any questions about this from the crowd or from Somich or anyone else?
Aaron, you want to jump in before I ask mine?
No, you go right ahead. I'm just over here watching.
All right. So first off, I think the one thing that jumps out as me is the 2 fastest paces are both with 2 E8 horses, right? So you mentioned the previous slide. The way that this thing melts down is if Summer Is Tomorrow is the other horse that goes out there. So a lot of this is going to hinge on how Summer Is Tomorrow actually affects that pace. The other interesting part I think I find here is that Always Dreaming year, you see the faster time early, and that's the other one we're going to compare this to because Always Dreaming's time. But because you had 0 E8 horses, my guess is that's faster early because you had a specific horse that makes the lead and no one wants to pass him. So he's not really pressed up front. Everyone's jostling for a position behind him, but that slows the pace down because no one wants to go right on by. Is that an accurate breakdown of those numbers?
Perfect segue. 2017, we had Cheap Speed. His name was State of Honor. You remember this horse? He came from Florida. Classic Causeway came out of Florida. We got Cheap Speed in all 4 of these years, right? Danzig Candy broke from the 20 like a damn arrow, dart out of the gate, cleared the field, set the pace, fast pace. Nyquist stuck with them. Same thing in 2017. State of Honor came out of the gate like a dart. Always Dream and stayed with them. Promises, and I hate saying cheap speed because Promises Fulfilled is probably the only sprinter that ever really was good that ran in the Derby. And we always talk about, the points era is no more sprinters and no more sprint speed. Well, Promises Fulfilled, he won the Fountain of the Youth, and he was able to, he wasn't cheap speed. He's a grade 1 sprinter. He's standing somewhere, I think at Windstar, and Promises Fulfilled. He was cheap Derby speed. That's why I put the word Derby there, because he wasn't going to get the mile and a quarter, but he set that pace. He came out of the 3-hole, took off, Justify, stuck to his hip, and put him away and put everyone else away. So we had those years, the cheap speed, and I'm going to go through the charts to show you that it's much like we had here. Let me go back. So we got the E8, right? Classic Causeway. Now I'm going to show you what these charts look like. Okay, so this year, 2016, we had Outwork. Outwork got squeezed from the gate, and he did get up into 4th, but he did not press Danzig Candy. So Danzig Candy basically became the lone E8. Look what happened to him. 1, 3, 6, 15. He ended up in 15th place, 20 lengths back. But what was crazy about this year, right? Nyquist held on. Doug O'Neill. I'll talk about a little bit about Doug O'Neill later when I give out one of my picks that you guys are going to love. But look what happened here, right? Exaggerator. We could look at these derbies and bring them up, and I don't know if you guys want to watch the replays, we can, but I'll get to the chase here. So
I didn't remember Gunrunner had the lead at the mile point. That's wild to me. Looking back at this chart, that just jumped out to me right away. I had no idea he was actually in the lead at one point.
I tweeted my man Flo the Jock, Flock the Jock, as you call him, yesterday or the day before, because I sent him the photo of Gunrunner at the lead at the quarter pole, and yeah, man. And I interviewed Flo after that, a few months after, and he said to me the greatest thing in his French accent. He said, I thought I was going to win that thing. I thought I was going to win the thing, the Kentucky Derby. Amazing. Great interview.
And this is the second fastest pace we've ever had in the Derby in the point system, correct? Second fastest half mile, I believe it was.
3/4, I think. Okay. They sped up. They kept on speeding up, I think. That was 2016 is the second fastest. So this was really ridiculously fast. Nyquist, I don't know what he did. It was like insane. And I even compared Nyquist to Authentics times in that article I wrote because it was like nothing had ever been seen before. And he just barely held off Exaggerator. I know it's a length and a quarter, but a couple of jumps after the wire, Exaggerator was past him. And Exaggerator made one of the greatest closes I think in the last 10 years of the Derby. And that's the horse I'm comparing him to is going to be Zandon. We'll talk more about that. Mohaymen, another one. So what we had here was two horses that were on or near the lead, even held on in the fastest pace, and then two closers came from 15th and 13th. All right.
Another interesting thing here, real quick. Notice that Danzig Candy was up 4 lengths at the half mile point. So that quarter and half mile time are all Danzig Candy versus somebody else as well.
You are right.
I'm gonna jump in too.
Not have to run as quick as them, and that could happen with Classic Causeway. We don't know. He might be 3 or 4 lengths up on the field at some point.
Go for it, Aaron.
I want to jump in real quick. I look at this chart, and if we're gonna think that it's something similar is gonna happen here, Nyquist kind of looks like a Taba running line. Exaggerator kind of looks like a Zandon running line, and Gunrunner kind of looks like a Messier running line or an Epicenter running line. Just my quick thoughts looking at it,
dude. You guys are giving away the freaking conclusion. I
haven't seen the slides. I'm sorry.
Did you cheat and look at the damn PowerPoint?
Also, real quick, just to satisfy David here. Hey, Slim, what award did you win for your pace thesis?
Yeah.
This was a year. Perfect segue, David Miller. This was a year that 2017 was the year I won the pace thesis.
What you literally won a writing award for this pace thesis?
This one in 2017 was the year. So perfect segue.
Can you name the award real quick, just to humor me?
It's called the Ron Rippey Award. Ron Rippey was a handicapper, a public handicapper. He wrote for a New Jersey paper down there, and he died. And they named the online handicapping award for him because he had online picks and stuff. And the Brisnet team, I sent in the 2017 basis. I went out to the Breeders' Cup, gave a speech. Aaron and I got wasted. Jared hit on Randy Moss's wife. It was one of the greatest nights of our lives.
Yep.
So there you go, David. Happy to answer the question. Yep. A little more detail I was looking for, but we'll take it. All right.
He gave a great speech.
So into Jared, I just don't even want to go there.
So
Randy, just love you, man.
Well, Randy Moss walks by, and Slim and I are like, talking to him about everything. We're throwing out everything. We're like, where's Jared? It's been an hour, and he's over there with Randy Moss's wife. It was great. Anyway.
All right, tell us about 2017.
Randy Moss makes the Moss, pace figures and all that. So I'm like, Jesus, this is great. And he thought this was awesome. So anyway, what happened this year, right? I loved Always Dreaming, and he won, and I won a lot of money that year. I hit that pick 3. Damn, it was Limousine Liberal. Who was the horse? Divisadero. Love Divisadero in those days, man. You just got to get a horse like that in that Turf Classic, man. Anyway, so back to this race, right? Same thing happened here, right? State of Honor goes out, dies off. First, second, he was only up by a head. Always Dreaming kept closer to him. Not as fast as a pace, but he ended up in last place because Thunder Snow obviously didn't run. We all know about that. But look what happened here. We had 2 horses once again. The first and third place horses, Battle of Midway, was up near the pace the whole time. He ended up in third. Always Dreaming on the pace won the race. And then we had two closers, 17th place in Classic Empire, who got squeezed from the gate. Should have been closer. He was Classic Empire, came in as an EP6, but he had the class to, stick it out and still get fourth. So same thing happened again. You guys got to remember, this was only a few years ago. I think we're all clouded by the last 3 years of like ridiculous derbies and these wire-to-wire jobs. And before the last 3 years, the last wire-to-wire derby was in 2001, and it was a Baffert horse. Oh my God, I can't believe I can't.
Silver Charm?
Silver Charm, yes. Silver Charm. So, I mean, we're just like screwed up by the last 3 years of horrible derbies. So let's think about what happened before that. And the same thing happened again in 2018 in the slop. So we had a nice derby in 2016. We had a wet fast track in 2017. And in 2018, we had a sloppy derby. And it didn't matter. The track conditions didn't matter. I know a lot of people are scared about the wet track this year, but it doesn't matter. The same thing happened. And look, that year we had 1E7 set the pace. A War Emblem, sorry.
Yeah,
God
that was my bad.
I've been
fed you Baffert instead of the Baffert.
War Emblem, thank you. So promises fulfilled, E8. Only green horse, right? Once again, right? We saw the only green horse sits the pace again. Head. 7th, 14th, 15th, 40 lengths back to end the race. Justify, press the whole time. Ends up in first. Good Magic, press the whole time. Ends up in second. Audible. The nose of my lifetime. I had the straight Justify, Good Magic, Exacta. Aaron, tell them about me running up and down what happened when I hit the straight Exacta. I had a $50 straight Exacta, Justify over a Good Magic.
He basically,
what did I do? We
were standing maybe 50, 100 yards from the wire, and he ran with the horses. He was on the track running with them.
No, that was after. That was like in the mud after they showed the replay. I was running up the thing watching the replay, and then when they put it up on the screen that he was second Good Magic, I just was like running up and down. I think Chad Brown saw me. He was like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" So he said, "What's wrong with you?" Anyway, so
I think this is a really good example too of what. First off, that's one of the best exactas you could ever have because there was 2.5 lengths to second, 2.5 lengths to third. You were locked in pretty much the entire stretch. That always feels good. This, I think, is a great example of what we could look at the pace, though. You have that 1E8. You've got a bunch of yellow here, right? Yeah. So horses that could kind of be closer press. That's what Justify did. Obviously, one of the best horses we've seen in our lifetime. So it's hard to compare anyone in this derby to Justify, but it gives you an idea that there is still the ability to be able to close. You also saw Good Magic in this race come from 5th. He was only 2.5 lengths back at the half-mile pole. Even though this is a fast pace, he was still able to get up there and do well. Obviously, Audible would kind of be your Zandon here, and Still Regard would be your Mo Donegal type here. If you're looking at that for horses that were able to close into that pace, it's just so hard to make up enough ground to get up to the top.
You said it. We'll go on to the next thing. Where are we at? I don't want to go. We're at 10 o'clock. We're about a half an hour in. I want to make sure I wrap this up in a good time. I don't want people to be watching this tomorrow. So this is the summary, right, of the superfectas with their EP running styles, their Brisnet running styles, and I got the green horses. So we got a leader, we got a closer, we got a presser, we got a closer. We got two closers every time, a leader and a presser. All right. And it didn't really matter what they're, looking at Lee was the most ridiculous thing probably we've ever seen as far as a closer coming on the rail, the one. But, it's just a repetitive situation in these years. And we have a similar pace this year that I think. So let's jump to the conclusion. I don't want to go much over a half hour here. So Brisnet running styles, you might have heard about this. EP7 has won 9 of the 22 derbies in this millennium. E6, EP5. So we're looking at a winner, right? We want a horse that got that tactical speed that Somich is talking about. So who is it? When we look at it, well, and this was Aaron was talking about, who is the Nyquist and Always Dreaming type? I think it's Messier in my mind. Messier is going to be up there just like them. He's going to hold on, I hope. And then who's to Justify? An experienced early presser. Taiba. He's going to be up there. We'll see if he could hold on. We talked about, sorry, excuse my language. My PowerPoint got screwed up here, so please bear with me. Oh, no. Okay, so I'll talk through this. Exaggerator class, Zandon is going to be that type of horse, right? who's our classy closer? Mo Donegal. I like Mo Donegal. I know you guys think he's a chump. I'm a sucker for the Wood Memorial. I love Frosted. I love Wicked.
Good horse, bad post, wrong Derby to be in.
You know, he has IRAD.
Yeah.
And I think that from the 3 and 4, you're going to see Summer's tomorrow in Upper Center. Get out there. Happy Jack and him are just going to sit back there, get a nice cushy spot in 16th, 17th place. And, you know, we saw in horses coming back from 16th, 17th. In Mo Donegal, the same thing with Mo Donegal in Zandon. I don't like closers in the Derby. I'll be honest with you. I never picked the closer in any of my articles. I'd just say maybe underneath. And I don't know. I don't think Mo Donegal can win the race. I think Zandon can, because Zandon has that move that Exaggerator has had. Mo Donegal, I think he could get 3rd or 4th here. If there's really a pace meltdown, he gets 2nd. You said it, gun runner. Who's the gun runner type, right? Epicenter. I mean, he's the same colors, same trainer. It's like Epicenter is, I just feel like he's going to get that trip where maybe he's not fast enough. I know you guys were talking about, you guys probably have this all memorized. What's the time for numbers? He's a little bit behind Taiba and Messier. Mm-hmm. And I just feel like Gun Runner was sort of the same way at that point in his career, you know, behind Nyquist on that day, on the Derby day. And I just feel like he's going to kind of be there, get 3rd. And then my 2 long shots, which is totally insane, right? Zozos. I'm not taking off Zozos because, and I'm sorry that this got kind of screwed up. I think this was supposed to say who is the
long shots that can be close and hold.
Long shots that can be close. Let me go back. Sorry, I compared Zozos to Battle of Midway. So Battle of Midway was like, I don't know, 30-1 or something. And Still Regarded was like 80-1, some crazy odds. So who is that long shot that could be 30-1, be close to the pace, and just hold on for 3rd? I like Zozos. I bought into it. Aaron, I've listened to enough of you, and Zozos, I feel like could be there and just hold on, and no one see him coming. And then I'm going to blow your minds with this one. Who's looking at Lee in Still Regard with the horse that nobody knew was coming? Huge long shot. Happy Jack. And I'll tell you why. There's only one reason why. Doug O'Neill.
Yeah, I mean, Doug O'Neill's done well at the Derby, so I'm not gonna knock you for that reason. Although
I don't think this horse is fast. I looked at his numbers. He's not good. Doug O'Neill has a formula for the Derby.
A lot of people are asking about White Barrio, so I'll go ahead and kick that one to you. What do you think about him and his chances? I just don't like the Florida horses. I mean, I was trying to think about simplification for a while, and he's blinkers off. He's going to be further back. I don't know. I just don't like that Florida Derby. I don't like the Arkansas Derby. And, that's why, how do you play these opinions? I just threw up some tickets, some superfecta tickets. If there is the single pace setter, just like we've seen in the past, I feel like, and these are free tickets that I didn't get into the guide because I didn't tell Jared to do an article for me. So I'm putting these out there for the Racing Dudes fans on my return to the total holy land of live streams on the YouTube channel, theracingdudes.com. So Messier and Taiba, those are my picks. And actually, hold on a second. I got somebody that just came in the room here. So
no problem. We can run it. So I'll talk a little about White Barrio because I think he is a legit horse that could make a run here. If White Barrio is able to get up and get close to the position, and I did an interview today with his owner that made me feel like White Barrio has more of a chance than I necessarily expected. It talks about how the adjusted pace White Barrio went was 109 in the Florida Derby, which kind of gives him a little bit more of leeway for going 14 in the last furlong there. Kind of made me think a little bit more about White Barrio specifically and what he could do in the Derby here. I think he could fit in that 3rd or 4th spot. So I've got him back up into my top 4 right now. And the 10-1 price, I think, is pretty juicy on the White Barrio side. I couldn't disagree more about Happy Jack. I have no interest in this horse whatsoever. Like 0 interest in using Happy Jack on any ticket. I hear Slim's point. Doug O'Neill done well in derbies. Got a couple bombs up there. He's obviously won it a couple times. But for me, Happy Jack is an absolute no thank you. And Zozos, is a horse that I was going to use on my tickets before the draw. Only 2 horses have ever hit the board in this try from the 19 post. Aaron, I know you originally loved him. The 19 draw happened. Where's your stance on Zozos now?
Well, I feel a little better after listening to Slim here. He's got some confidence in him still, but I don't feel good about it. If you watch the draw live with us, I was like, oh, that's not good. That's not good at all. So kind of like White Mario a little bit now to kind of slide into that spot of a horse that I think is going to be like 15-1 or so. So, gosh, I'm with you on Happy Jack. I don't want any part of that one whatsoever. I do want to ask him about the weather. We've talked about it, Somich, and we're not too worried about it. A lot of people have asked, hey, what if it rains? Well, our horses, as far as winning, that we like, we're, not going to be a problem. What about pace? I mean, he's not here right now, but what about for your perspective on the pace? If it rains, what do you think?
I think it makes zero difference from a pace perspective early, because when you see horses struggle in the slop, it's not when they've gone a quarter of a mile. It's not when they've gone a half a mile. You start to see pace horses really struggle in the slop when they are starting to push that mile point, when they're getting tired. Some horses just travel better over it. They can still go just as fast early, but they use more energy to go that speed early. And so later in the race is where you really see the slop hit horses harder. So for my money, I'm not worried about the pace-wise from a sloppy track or a fast track. I do think it affects how a couple horses will close. And some tracks, and this is track by track bias, some tracks hold speed better when there's water on it, like Saratoga, for instance. If it rains and they're going a mile and 8, 2 turns, just bet the speed. I mean, just bet the speed. You can't close on the track. I'm going to be watching Churchill all week because I think that's a huge giveaway of what we can expect from the racetrack come Saturday. We're going to get rain all week. You're going to get a good idea of what horses are going to do over the slop. Today, speed seemed to be pretty good. You didn't have a ton of horses coming from behind. I think tomorrow you're probably going to see the same thing. Thursday and Friday, we're going to get more information around the track. Generally, they want these tracks to be faster for those big days. The slop could obviously change that up a little bit for Churchill, but I feel like the next couple of days will give us everything we need to know to understand how this track is going to play on Saturday.
Yeah, Nick points it out. Speed wasn't too bad today. Listen, I don't think we're going to get a sloppy track. I'm gonna think positively, but there's going to be moisture in the track.
Yeah.
There's no question about it. All right. Slim's not back, but we do have another guest.
Someone's kidnapped Slim.
Nice. I will tell you who likes the rain. Empire Maker's nice in the rain. I saw Belmont Steak and he will is the rain today. Messier is my peak because of the rain and the wet and the Empire Maker nice. I will tell you why Messier is my pick for Baftin, Yak, Foot, Exacta, with Tabor, Yakteen, Barefoot, on the phone with him, have his groom there. His groom, my groom. I mean, I talked to Barefoot, I talked to Jill. They tell me that the groom is there with him and with the Messier, and Messier has my groom, and I tell the groom, get on plane with Salon Paz. Get on the plane with Robitussin and NyQuil. I tell him that he have to urinate in the stall in the right direction in the back of the stall so that they make sure the Robitussin and the NyQuil gets into the horsey. Horse rash cream is very good too for the horsey. Messier had horse rash and we gave him that cream and it was good. So the groom is there with the Salon Paz, the lidocaine patches. We're good to go. Barefoot rule. Messier, win Derby, Taiban second. Exacta, box. Baftin, Yak, Foot, box.
I don't even know what to say.
Well, what's amazing is it's the same guy, right? Like the same guy that just put this presentation together can come on here and do this as well.
Oh, I absolutely love it. So we've got the Borat Cap are officially picking Messier on top, Taiba in second. And I like the groom angle. I think this one's not been talked about enough. You do have Bob Baffert's number one groom who has traveled to Kentucky with Messier to be the groom for Messier for the Kentucky Derby, which is kind of crazy when you think about it.
White Claw, yeah, nice. Hopefully Naira don't ban her barefoot, so we get to see barefoot trainees at the Saratoga this summer, nice. But I think the injunction didn't go through, so hopefully a lawyer win case.
All right, so let's pull up Saratoga Borat Slim's tickets one more time. Slim, you want to walk us through these here on your Derby
so
perspective?
Tickets. So Borat Kappa was all about Messi and Taiba. He was talking to me all week about it, and I was like, all right, with the single pace setter scenario, I got to put Messi and Taiba in first. I still feel like Zandon can get second, even with that single pace setter. Zandon, he reminds me so much of Exaggerator. I know Exaggerator was great in the slop. Zandon, I heard that Tomlinson figured that he's not so good in the wet. Hopefully I don't even know what's going to happen there on Saturday, because I remember we were there for Maximum Security. It was like, hey, it's not going to rain on Saturday. And it was just like lightning, and it just literally poured an hour before the race. So like, no. So who the hell knows, so maybe Zandon with this single pace, but I feel like he could get second. And then I just throw 7 horses in third and fourth. I'll come back again and play some more of the chalk again, like Epicenter. I'll probably come in, a $2 or $3 superfecta straight with some of the favorites, just so if this hits for $80 and, Zozos. If Zozos, imagine it came in Messier, Taiba, Zozos, and Happy Jack. It'd be like a $14,000 superfecta, so, or maybe more, 28,000 if you get 2 bombs at the bottom of it. So, but if it comes in Messier, Taiba, if you get Epicenter out of there as one of the top choices, or you just got to be right. I'll tell you one thing about betting the Derby. Don't worry about coming up. And I've come up with some crazy scenarios here just because, I want that chance. It's we only get one chance a year to hit an $80,000 superfecta or a $25,000 superfecta, and this is it. So you just got to throw in some random horses like Zozos and Happy Jack just to have the dream. It's like buying a freaking Powerball ticket, basically. Just have that dream and you can hit a $25,000 superfecta for $80, So that's the dream. You only get one time a year. And I hate when people say, I saw this online. I think it was a handicap I really like. You got to bet this race like it's a Friday at Aqueduct. I'm like, no, you don't. You don't get 20 horses and a pool of $180 million. That's only once a year. So put your money in it. I got a $140 budget. I'm sure I'll play trifectas and exactas. So that's the superfecta straight. Same thing. Play the same horses in third and fourth. And if Zandon somehow gets up, he's the favorite. And the other thing here is if Modano gets second somehow, and there is a pace meltdown, and he comes flying, then if it's Zandon Modano to start that exacta, and then you got some horses that hold on like Epicenter or Taiba or Messi underneath, I think that's still going to pay pretty nicely. So that's kind of my meltdown ticket. And I'm kind of off the meltdown. I just don't know enough about the Summers. Tomorrow scares me a little bit about this race. We never had an international horse that came over here that really wanted to lead. So can he get it? If he does, something wacky could happen. So I just kind of want to back myself up. But you guys talked about it today on the live stream that, you don't expect a pace meltdown. And I'm sort of on that side too, but in the back of my mind, I just don't know anything about the Summers tomorrow. I'm sorry. I try to watch some of his races. I found 1 or 2 of them, and I don't know. He doesn't break that well, so who the hell knows?
Well, the 4 post is tough too, because if you don't break out of the 4, if you have any issue at all, you're not making the lead. So that kind of changes that up. I also just like I said, I see a lot of horses here who want to be in second or third, but not many who want the lead. And so as soon as you get into the second or third spot, you hit the brakes. Right. And you're trying to slow it down after that, because if you're sitting in second or third, you don't want to go 46. You want to go 47 or 48 because Classic Causeway is coming back to you. You're not scared of the horse in front of you. You're scared of what's behind you. So it's in your best interest to slow the pace down if you are Messier, if you are Epicenter, if you're any of these horses who we're projecting to be in the top 4 heading into that first turn. So it's really about Summers tomorrow, how well he breaks, how far he gets up. And yeah, if he goes nuts, then you could see some type of pace meltdown. But even if you see the 2 of them run off and you have horses like Epicenter and you have horses like Messier who sit 3 or 4 lengths behind them, I would still find it hard to believe you're going to have a complete pace meltdown, because that's going to be really your quote unquote speed as the horses that are leading the race when you're sitting in those positions.
Yes.
I agree. Said you can get the same info looking at the morning line. All right, Paulie. Thanks, bro. I didn't know the morning line told you that this Derby set up just like the 2016 to 2018 Derbies, but
so real quick, no chance for Classic Causeway here. Everyone agree with that he can't wire the field?
He has a pedigree. I mean, Giant Causeway, this is the last crop for Giant Causeway, so you got to love him. You know, he's been one of the best sires of the last few decades, right? So he just sucks so bad in the Florida Derby, you know, that it's tough to get behind a horse that could wire. I mean, the horses that have wired, Baffert, Service. So I don't know.
What do they have in common? Right?
Does he have the same?
Yeah. I will say this for Classic Causeway.
The same pharmacist.
I will say this for Classic Causeway. His Tampa Bay races were good. Now, they weren't good enough to win the Derby, but his Florida Derby was almost too bad to believe in a way, where he backed up so hard that it was just like, what's going on here? Because he ran faster at Tampa than he did at Gulfstream, and backed up at Gulfstream and didn't back up at Tampa. Now he was facing better horses at Gulfstream. So that's definitely part of this. But I wouldn't be shocked if he scares me for a little longer than I expect. I'm probably not going to have him on any ticket, but I wouldn't be shocked if I'm a little worried around the far turn if he gets to go 111 and change. And we see kind of a couple horses chasing him from there.
You know, as I sit here and I analyzed it over and over and over, you know who I think a meltdown benefits the most? Taba.
Well, you just love Taba, though.
And do you know what I think what horse benefits a slow pace the most?
I'm going to guess you think it's Taba.
Taba. Because I don't think he's dependent on pace at all based on what we've seen. The more I looked at this, it's like if he shows up, it's over. I really don't. I like Messier a lot, but if Taba shows up like he did in the San Diego Derby, how is Messier going to beat him? That's where I'm at. I would make the argument one was fully cranked for the San Diego Derby and the other wasn't, and that would be my one way I could retort it. But look, if Taba improves third off the layoff, he's going to be awfully tough. There's only a couple horses in here I think can really take a step forward, and I think that's a big thing too. And Taba's one of them. Messier's another. I think White Abario is a horse that could take a step forward here. So you got to look at horses that, you know, I find it hard to believe Epicenter can take a big jump, right? Just because of what he has already done and how his campaign has gone. So I think we kind of know who Epicenter is at this point. Very good horse. Tough post. Don't love Rosario from that post. But I feel like you kind of have a couple horses in this Derby who could take a jump forward. And Taba's one of them. Obviously, Charge It's another, although I don't really trust Charge It to be able to figure it all out. And here's the other thing. And I get this sentiment. I'm not calling you out, Christopher, at all, but you made the comment. Isn't it an if for every horse to show up? That's the thing. I got to thinking. I'm worried about stuff that you worry about any horse, any race, any time.
It's the break. The break in the Derby is the key. I mean, I talked about Classic Empire. He looked like a great horse coming in. He got fourth. Break was horrible. Same thing last year with
Rock Your World.
Rock the World, and then also had a bad trip. The champion, the 3-year-old champion, the 2-year-old champion. Sorry,
Essential Quality.
Essential Quality.
Yeah, I mean, to Chris' point,
bad trips can happen to anyone.
And to Chris's point, I think and I would agree with him that it's a bigger if for Taba than some other horses just because there's more things he's doing for the first time, right? But I agree with you, Aaron. There is an if for everybody, right? And so you kind of have to figure out what you're willing to forgive. You don't, I mean, we talked about this before. Every one of these Derby horses have warts. I could pop your bubble if you pick any horse you want, and I can pop that bubble why that horse is going to lose the Derby. It's figuring out, okay, which has the best chance to do it, and what are the odds are right. I mean, we haven't touched on the odds in this yet. And I think that's another big part of this. Like, do I like Zandon? Yes. Should Zandon be 3-1? No. Right? Those are two very different things. And so when you're kind of going through this and you see Taba on the board at 12-1, and you see Zandon at 3-1, you're telling me Zandon is 3 times more likely to win this race than Taba. No. That seems wild, right? And now I don't think those will be the off odds. So just to get out in front of that as well, I expect Zandon's going to float up to about 4-1 and probably be your favorite at 4-1. It's It's fair. It's reasonable. You're probably going to get Taiba at 7 or 8 to 1, somewhere in that range. And so you got to take the odds into account as well and decide, are Taiba's ifs double the size of Zandon's? Are they double the size of Epicenters, right? And that's when you kind of have to make that call.
So I actually going through the comments now. Nick Feldman wrote a nice question. Do you find this year that it's harder to predict this pace with these running styles because the horses are lighter and lighter raced each year? Makes the data hard to predict? Yeah, definitely. I mean, who knows? I mean, Taiba could be a closer. We don't know. I doubt it, but he shows speed. But yeah, I mean, we only got 2 races to look at his speed. I mean, he was great in his debut. He showed that speed, and he sat off it in the Santa Anita Derby. So who knows? I mean, he might go straight to the lead because we don't know what his speed is out of the gate. So definitely, I mean, that's really difficult. And Zozos, looks like he wants to charge it too. Both of them look like they want to be close, but hey, man, maybe they get a bad break and they drop back to 14th and they come closing like maniacs. And we didn't whoa, you didn't know that Zozos and Charge It had this late speed that could be closers. So yeah, I mean, it's really difficult. This Derby is really, it's becoming, with not having the data, it is more difficult for sure.
Yeah, fewer data points just make it harder to decide what their pace factor is, and also to decide how fast these horses actually are. Like, I would argue Epicenter probably not an EP8 to my mind, right? I don't think he is as fast as some of these other horses. Pioneer Medina, I would argue, isn't an EP8. I think Messier's faster than both of those. And so it's going to be interesting to see how this first quarter shakes out and how they jostle for position. But to me, the key is that, like, because Zozos is outside, who I thought was a legit pace threat. I thought Zozos might actually be someone who wants to go like he did in Louisiana. I just don't see as much early pressure. And once someone gets the lead, I think everyone jostles for position behind them versus pressing the pace forward and making the leader go faster.
Yeah. I just think, gosh, I just couldn't get away from it. At the end of the day, it's like, gosh, Taiba, he could win on the lead and he could win from 5 out of it. I mean, even though he only has 2 starts, the versatility is really there. He's kind of shown it, and a lot of people are like, oh, I like Charge It. I think he's coming into it great. John White made a great point on the interview that'll be out a little bit later or tomorrow morning. And he said, look, when you look at Charge It and you look at Taiba is 10 times more professional than this horse, so it's like professionalism. You got a foundation around him, under him, and he could improve, he really could. So
yeah,
I
don't like Charge It. The way he was moving around in the stretch, it just doesn't seem like a horse. I mean, maybe puts it all together. He's looked great. He's a great looking horse. He can win the Travers. He can win the Jim Dandy. I just don't know if he's going to win this race. Horses like that get into trouble in 20-horse fields. One quick question about Kevin B, who I've seen commenting. Kevin, good to see you commenting on a lot of the live feeds. Taiba having the second best late speed figures according to Timeform is insane, with also having a top early speed rating. He had one thing I like to use on the Brisnet is the late pace figures, and that's one of the reasons I like Mo Donegal. He had a 121 in the Wood, which is really off the charts. I mean, I think like Justified had like a 117 or something. So Mo Donegal off the charts for his Wood, and then also Xander had a 114. And you're right, Xander had a 114, and then Taiba had a 109. So he's third in which is crazy, right? He was just motoring along. Forbidden Kingdom was going at it with Messi up front. He sat third. They were going fast, and then he just finished up with a flurry. So that's why Taiba's race was so impressive, that he's the third ranked behind the 2 big closers, Mo Donegal and Zandon, that you would expect to have that late pace, that were back in the Wood, back in the Bluegrass. And Taiba is, right behind them in the late speed figures for Briz. So
I gotta say, I'm loving the chat. Thank you, everybody, for chiming in here. I love this too. Crown Pride has a shot. Japanese horses run their horse. Crown Pride's been doing wonderful. Then later in the chat, we got Crown Pride is too slow to win, but we'll make it a mile and a quarter. And I love Raj's point here. $2 in your opinion. That's what makes this fun, man. You got the actual juxtaposition of those two Crown Pride sides of it, and that's dead on. It's $2. Put it on someone to win, and that's how we judge the success of that race. It's what makes horse racing awesome.
And so I do want to leave on that note. We're almost at an hour. I don't want to overdo this. That is the thing. When I showed that ticket, put your horses in there. Take a shot up top with the superfecta. Put your 2 favorite horses in first. Put those 2 horses with one of your second choices in second, and then spread like crazy as much as your budget can take in the 3rd and 4th spot, and just hope to get lucky, because this race is all about the break. There's going to be crazy things that happen, and a long shot might hit the board, or it could chalk out. This could chalk out. That year that we talked about, 2016, was chalk. But if you have it for $3 or $4, you're going to make pretty good money too. That was Nyquist was the favorite. Exaggerate, I think, was second or third choice. I think actually it went in exact order that year, 2016. It was Nyquist, Gunrunner. Nyquist, Exaggerated, Gunrunner, and Mohemu were the top 4 choices in that exact order. And I think someone has the chart in front of them how much it paid, but you just got to be right. If you have it for $3 or $4, you're gonna win your money. You're gonna 10 times your money.
I mean, this is my second favorite pool of the entire year, the Derby Superfecta. Rarely do you have. I mean, it's $1 base minimum, and you have 20 horses in the field, so you can't spread. There's people who are going to spend thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars just on $1 Superfecta ticket, just playing crazy horses underneath 2 or 3 horses. To me, this is one of those pools where the general public just doesn't spread very much, and so you're going to get a lot of small tickets that have very little chance to win based on the way they're constructed. I mean, $1 Superfecta box is very hard to hit in the Derby, and so you got a lot of dead money in there. So if you play the Superfecta, I think it's an absolutely wonderful sequence or wonderful thing to fire on. I agree with Slim. Put a horse on top. Put your pick on top. Maybe put 2 on top if you want to, and then go 3 or 4 in the next spot, 3 or 4 in the next spot, and grow crazy in the 4th spot if you want to. I mean, there's a couple ways you can attack it based on your budget, but playing the Superfecta in the Derby is one of the 2 best pools of the year. The other one's the pick 6 in the Breeders' Cup, which is near impossible to hit, but man, does it pay out stacks if you're able to. But this is the more realistic one. And like, look at last year. You had Baffert over Cox, over O'Neill, over Cox, and it paid $9,000 for $1, almost 10 grand, I think it was, for $1. So you can look at the trainer pedigree and you can really pull these things out.
Listen, we gotta ask for Shoddy. Shoddy's been wanting to know. What do you think of Barber Road, Slim? What do you think of Barber Road?
I don't like the Arkansas horses. I'm tossing the Arkansas and the Florida horses, and I did. Oh my God, my wife wrote, I know you all miss Slim at 9:57. Oh no, she watched this. Shoot, hopefully I'm looking at. Yeah, I mean, the Arkansas and the Florida horses. I don't know. I mean, Barber Road could get 4th. I'm just my budget was at $80, $60 tickets. That's why I'm going to play as far as Superfecta tickets. If you have $160 Superfecta ticket and you want to put 14 horses in 3rd and 4th, then I'd have Barber Road probably. Maybe probably I'd rank him probably 12. I don't know. I haven't got that far. He's not in
Slim's top 10. That's what we're hearing from you. Barber Road is outside the top 10 for Slim. Can I just real quick? That's not a great bet. I think it's 22% takeout on the 3-year-old pick 3 at Churchill. There's some better bets. The all dirt pick 5 is a 15% takeout for a 50-cent denomination. That one I think is a really good bet. These tracks are starting, and Naira did it too with their end of Sunday pick 3, which actually handled less than the regular dollar pick 3 this last Sunday. The takeout's much higher on that. So it could pay out nice because you have that 20 horse race, but I'd rather put my money into the 15% takeout, 50-cent all dirt pick 5 than the $3 dirt pick 3 in there. Sorry, just want to jump in.
So what's with this David Miller guy? He's like hating on me. So if you're gonna come at you guys want to come at me with the hating, I'm here to love. I just want to love, man. I'm all about love and peace. So don't come at me with the hate. I just want to be here to educate people and make people, love the game and love going to track, drinking, having fun. So what makes me an expert? I don't know. I've been going to track for my whole life, and I've been betting, and I've read multiple books, and I've won. Is this guy want to know how much money I won? Hey, man, I'm not a huge bettor. I don't bet $180 pick 5s like Somobomb. I like hitting exactas. I bet $20 boxes. I go to the track with $200 and hope to have a fun time and hope to come out. And that's one thing when I talk about educating people, you got to know bankroll. We don't talk enough about this in the game. We talk about the horses, but know your bankroll. Going into the Derby, say, hey, and it's not just I'm gonna put $400 on this day and stick to it. Really, don't blow your budget on Oaks Day and be like, shit, I gotta put another $300 in my account. Really know, like, hey, I'm gonna start Oaks Day, bet $100, bet $150 if that's what your budget is, and then say I got 400. I'm gonna know my Derby. I want to bet $200 in the Derby. So, hugs for Slim. Thank you. So really think about your bankroll. Think about your ticket structure. Come up with your horses and then come up with your ticket structure, and spend 50% of your time on ticket structure and your bankroll management. Because if you get behind on Oaks Day and you start chasing, you're gonna have a horrible time, and you're gonna feel like it. You're gonna go to sleep on Friday night crying in your pillow. You don't want that. You want to have fun. You want to know what bets you want to make. You want to play your strongest opinions. If you like Jackie's Warrior, and that's one thing I didn't get to do the Barat. Jackie Warrior, she's nice, but if you want to bet Jackie Warrior and pound the hell out of him, go for it. So like just know what your strongest opinions are on the day and bet that. And think about what your bets are. That's the key. And I'm here to just educate and have fun. So people want to know how much money I made. Well, when I went to my first Derby in 2018, I went there with like a $500 budget, and I came out with $4,000. So that was a great thing. I 8 times my money. So that's what I'm looking to do. So also you have to also think about not just how much money you have in your budget, how much money do you want to win? If you want to make risky bets and go pick 5s, pick 4s, and try to make $40,000 on a pick 5, or you want to just double your money, you really have to go in with those ideas for the Derby and the Oaks Days. You can't be like, so really think about how much money you want to bet and what you actually want to win too. That's a big part of the betting. And it's not just knowing if you like Barber Road or not.
And Slim hit the nail on the head, especially for a big day like this. We've got 23 races, I think it is, over 2 days. You don't have to bet all 23 races, right? I mean, it's fun to do it. And if you got the bankroll to do it, great. But make sure you have the idea of how much money you want to bet on the Derby first, and then work backward from there. Because the last thing you want to do is chase in the Derby. It's not fun. I've done it before. You'll lose a lot of money if you're wrong. Yeah, it can be great if you're right, but it's not a fun place to be in. So learning to not chase on these big days.
6:05, and you're like, oh damn, I wanted to make another trifecta bet. Oh shoot, I got to put another $150 in my account. You feel like horrible. You do it, you lose, and then you feel like hell all night. So just don't chase. It's a horrible feeling, yes, but we've all been there. Just learn from your mistakes and try to grow.
Yep. And so
I think we're good. We're at an hour. So any other questions from the crowd?
Well, thank you very much for joining us, Slim. Yeah. It's awesome to have you back and kind of go through the pace thesis. Really appreciate it. And just have the depth of information is absolutely amazing. I love looking at those and trying to dissect what I think is going to happen here. I agree with you. I think we're not going to see a pace meltdown here. I think the 4 Summers tomorrow obviously is going to be the key, but we'll see what happens on Derby Day. Aaron, you got any final thoughts for us?
Dude, I'm just so happy to do this again with Slim. This was great, man. I think YouTube was made for Slim when they invented this. It was for him. We just all didn't know it until tonight. So this was great, Slim. Thanks for coming on, and it's awesome.
I'm back. I'm officially back. I want to tell people that I'm going to try to do like a weekly thing where I'm going to get out there with Saratoga and do some work. I'm looking at this as an actual job opportunity. Hopefully the dudes hire me. I left, and now I got to work my way back into the good graces. So, and I'll tell you what the master plan is: NFL prop bets. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
We can do a Samo and Slim prop bet show. I would be happy to do that for 30 minutes a week, something like that. I would love to get more NFL stuff out there.
So we'll football live stream at halftime every week.
Let's do it. I tried to get Aaron to do that. He's freaking lazy as hell, man. He didn't want to do live streams for the Sunday night and Monday night games. He's killing me.
No, that's Sunday night. Thursday night, so you set everybody up for the weekend. That's the key.
All right. I'll do them with you, Slim. Since no one else wanted to do it, I'll do live streams on the halftime shows. I love betting second half NFL games and NBA betting.
I'm not going to bet the second half. I'm talking about the Sunday games. Anyway, we'll talk about it. No. We got 4 months for football, but Kentucky Derby, good luck all.
Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us here at racingdudes.com. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the like button down below. Appreciate everybody for joining us. We'll be back with a live show tomorrow, I think. We got a live show at 1 p.m. Central, or 1 p.m. Eastern, to 12 o'clock Central, to cover the late breaking Derby news heading in toward the weekend. And then we'll be live Thursday night covering Friday's card, and Friday night covering Saturday's card. Make sure you check out the Racing Dudes Guide to the Kentucky Derby that's available on racingdudes.com. And we have Somobombs available on Friday and Saturday. We got the grids up this week as well. So check all that out. Stay tuned for more free content. Check out the White Abarrio video as well. Just interviewed the owner today. He had some really cool stuff to say, so check that out. We're just keep rolling videos out here leading up to Kentucky Derby. Hope we can crush it, man.
Good luck.
Oh, wait, I got to say goodbye. All right, everybody. Have a good night. Aaron, you're running the video, so I'll say it again. All right, everybody. Have a good night.
This has been a presentation of RacingDudes.com, your destination for all things horse racing and sports betting. Whether you want free winners, expert insider picks, up-to-the-minute trackside weather reports, or podcasts and videos for bettors of all skill levels, never make another wager without visiting the Racing Dudes. First,